A legend has echoed across the imperial mainland for ages, telling of the catalogue of 9 cave recipes, a profound work left behind by the ancient magic emperor that chronicles the very best of his life studies. They say the ancient Devil King reigned as the strongest force on the continent, his vast knowledge distilled into a single book that was eventually scattered to the 4 corners of the world. By practicing the techniques within this book of 9 secrets, one could truly harness the power to reach the very heavens and hold the earth in the palm of one's hand. And now, at last, that legendary text rests in the hands of the magic emperor, Zhou Yifan. The formidable Zhou Yifan, the true magic emperor, gazes ahead with a look of absolute authority. Disaster struck when word of the book got out. Now, because of the power he possesses, Zhou Yifan has become the prime target for every martial arts expert across the land, drawing them toward him like moths to a flame. Footsteps echo rapidly against the stone as a subordinate rushes toward the throne room, clearly desperate to deliver grave tidings. Falling to one knee, the subordinate reports with trembling urgency, "My lord, this is no good. The mountain troop has been completely penetrated, and everyone has been killed." Zhao Chen, a loyal disciple of Zhou Yifan, looks visibly shaken, his voice thick with dread as he cries out that he fears the 7 emperors will arrive at any moment. Zhou Yifan, however, remains cold and unbothered, commanding his disciple, "Don't panic." Even as he acknowledges that the 7 emperors are no match for his strength, he finds their success in defeating his troops quite unexpected. "Let's go and see them ourselves," he declares. Amidst the violent crackle of dark lightning, a massive army gathered to challenge the Magic Emperor, their voices united in a desperate, thunderous demand, "Magic Emperor! Hand over the book!" Zhou Yifan stood unmoved as his dark, tattered cloak whipped against the gale, his imposing silhouette casting a shadow over the vast ranks of soldiers who dared to face him. With a cold, mocking smirk, Zhou Yifan looked down upon the sea of warriors. "A bunch of insects," he sneered, his eyes glinting with lethal intent, "dare to fight me?" With a sudden, calculated step, he launched himself into the fray, his armored boots tearing through the very air as he closed the distance. The enemy forces panicked, their faces twisted in alarm as they shrieked, "Be careful!" The warning barely echoed before he was upon them. "He's coming," the soldiers stammered, realizing too late that their defiance was met with overwhelming speed. A crimson mist erupted into the sky as Zhou Yifan tore through the ranks like a scythe, his movements leaving nothing but destruction in his wake. He moved with the grace of a predator, his aura crushing the opposition as he continued his relentless, bloody assault through the heart of the army. Even as he carved a path of ruin, those remaining defied their fear, howling, "Zhou Yifan! We'll never let you go!" The Magic Emperor simply tilted his head, a flicker of dark amusement in his eyes as he breathed, "Oh?" A dark, manic laugh escaped him. "Ha ha! Finally you guys are here," he declared, relishing the thrill of their arrival. A group of radiant, robed figures descends, calling out to the 7 emperor. They demand that he hand over the Book of 9 Secrets if he values his life, announcing themselves as the 8th royals recognized by the sanctuary. Zhou Yifan, unfazed, scoffs at their arrogance, declaring that even together, they are no match for him. A dark, chilling amusement crosses Zhou Yifan's face as he looks at them, his eyes glowing with malice. He asks with a mocking grin, "Why do you bother looking for your own deaths?" One of the elders stares him down, warning him that he is entirely unaware of his own dire situation. He reminds Zhou Yifan that by becoming the enemy of the whole sanctuary, he has surely encountered those far stronger than himself. The elder speaks his name with a heavy, ominous tone, "Zhou Yifan." The figure glows with holy light, asserting that the book in question is a sacred relic of the ancient emperor, belonging rightfully to the Holy Land. Zhao Chen, looking increasingly frantic, pleads with his lord to reconsider, warning him that they are facing the absolute strongest force of the Holy Land and that continuing this fight is a grave mistake. The threat looms over him, an undeniable fact: he is the enemy of the entire Holy Land. Zhou Yifan lets out a manic, defiant laugh, relishing the label. He screams back at them that even if he must be seen as a villain, he is going to destroy every single one of them. Suddenly, blood spatters across the scene as Zhou Yifan is struck, his expression shifting into a sharp, piercing stare of pure lethality. As the pressure mounts, the holy figures remain unmoved, telling their lord to simply give up now, for his time to die has finally arrived.
Zhou Yifan's expression hardened as he recognized the figure before him. "So it's you," he roared, the betrayal stinging far worse than any blade. "The traitor! You leaked all information about the Book of Nine Secrets and the mountain troops, Zhao Chen?" Surrounded by holy figures, Zhou Yifan locked eyes with the man he had once mentored. The pain of the revelation bled through his words. "I've raised and taught you since you were young. Why did you betray me?" Zhao Chen offered a cold, mocking smile, showing no remorse for his treachery. He justified his actions with a sneer, claiming that even though Zhou Yifan was his master, it was wrong to hoard the Book of Nine Secrets alone, adding, "You even prevent me from reading it like I'm a thief." Zhou Yifan stared back in disbelief, his eyes glowing with dangerous intensity. "You betray me for that kind of reason?" he asked, the absurdity of the motive only fueling his rage. As the conflict reached a boiling point, Zhao Chen pressed the advantage, reminding him that there was no escaping now. But Zhou Yifan remained defiant, scoffing at his former disciple. "Ha, Zhao Chang, I have been teaching you since you were a child, but you are so anxious and narrow-minded that there is no one in this world that you can trust." Blood trickled from the corner of Zhou Yifan's mouth, a silent testament to the toll this confrontation was taking on his body and spirit. Despite the blood, Zhou Yifan erupted into a chilling, manic laughter that echoed across the void. "Ha, very good," he declared, his voice dripping with dark irony as he prepared his final move. His eyes flared with an ominous, blinding light as he made his final choice. "Now I'm going to destroy this Book of Nine Secrets along with my body, so that no one can get it," he vowed, ready to incinerate everything. Panic broke out among those watching, the realization dawning on them all too late. "This is bad," they cried out in terror. "He wants to self-destruct." A blinding, cataclysmic explosion of raw spiritual energy consumed the area, tearing through the heavens as Zhou Yifan unleashed his final, desperate act of destruction. A brilliant, singular spark of energy descends from the heavens, plummeting through the night sky like a falling star toward the dark canopy of the forest below. The aftermath of the cataclysm leaves the area littered with the fallen, their bodies scattered across the ground in a grim, silent tableau. Among the victims, Zhou Yifan lies motionless on the forest floor, blood pooled beneath his head, marking the heavy cost of his desperate gamble. A hand slowly extends into the frame, fingers twitching as consciousness begins to flicker back into existence amidst the ruin. A surge of spiritual essence pulses at the center of his forehead, a sharp, sudden energy that signals the beginning of a profound transformation. His eyes snap open, the pupils dilating with the shock of a mind suddenly awakening in a place it does not recognize. Confused and disoriented, Zhou Yifan stares at his own hands, struggling to process the reality of his situation, wondering in a daze, "This is my body now?" He forces himself upright, the realization hitting him with the weight of a heavy truth. He had never expected to find himself reborn within the frame of this young boy. He rises to his feet, scanning the unfamiliar, darkened surroundings with a sharp, guarded gaze, his mind racing to calculate his current standing. The intensity of his focus deepens as the memories of the past and the reality of his new vessel collide, setting his resolve for the trials ahead. A pair of glowing, predatory green eyes emerges from the dark thicket, signaling that Zhou Yifan is no longer alone. The tension spikes as two vicious, wolf-like beasts burst from the shadows, their jagged fangs dripping with hungry anticipation. One of the creatures looms over the forest floor, its massive paw stepping down heavily as it stalks toward the boy. The wolves launch themselves through the air in a coordinated pounce, closing the distance to their prey with terrifying speed. The protagonist barely flinches, his eyes narrowing with icy calm as he snaps back a sharp, dismissive command, F***ck off. The lead beast recoils, momentarily halted in its tracks as the sheer weight of his presence registers. Birds scatter into the twilight sky in a frantic, cawing mess, disturbed by the sudden shift in the forest's lethal energy. The dust settles, leaving only the shadow of a traveler standing firm amidst the encroaching silence. A nearby figure, hunched in pain and clearly broken, reaches out desperately toward him, gasping, "Arg! Zhou Fan, please, save me." Zhou Yifan watches the man, internally noting that this must be someone the original owner of this body knew, and upon gauging the stranger's essence, he remarks with a hint of amusement that it's quite nice to find someone with cultivation at the second layer. Zhou Yifan stares down at the broken man, calculating his options with cold, detached efficiency. The opportunity is ripe, this life force can be used.
Without hesitation, he reaches out and firmly grabs the man's head.
The victim recoils in sudden terror, stuttering, "What are you doing?"
Terror shifts to realization as the man desperately gasps out, "You're not Zhou Yifan."
"Who are you?"
Zhou Yifan offers a sharp, menacing grin, acknowledging the truth. He is right, he is not the man the victim expected. With a surge of dark energy, he initiates the 9-secret technique, Drain Touch. A piercing, agonized cry tears through the forest as the victim's life essence is ruthlessly stripped away. Sunlight filters peacefully through the canopy above, indifferent to the grim process unfolding below.
Zhou Yifan sits in quiet meditation beside the desiccated remains.
He reflects on the mechanics of the Drain Touch, a supreme devilish technique capable of seizing souls and strength to catalyze growth, though it requires meticulous processing to avoid soul rejection. He understands the peril of the art. One must first successfully conjure the stolen power within their own being before it can be safely and fully absorbed. His hand rests heavily upon the husk of his target, pulling the final remnants of energy into himself. It was already morning, and Zhou Yifan noted with a faint realization that absorbing this stolen power had been a more efficient process than he had initially anticipated. It certainly wouldn't take him an entire night. He channeled the surging energy, his arm whipping through the air as he channeled the refined essence into his own meridians. The forest clearing hummed with the raw discharge of his cultivation, the air vibrating as he pushed the leftover spiritual remnants into the ground. A sudden, violent burst of energy erupted beneath him, shattering the silence of the woods as the final, volatile fragments were expelled. Smoke and dust billowed up around him as he stood firm, having successfully purged the impurity and leaving the air thick with the settling debris of his breakthrough. A dark, predatory grin curled his lips, a testament to the thrill of his regained power. He cast his thoughts toward his rival, the Emperor of Sword, Zhou Chang, whispering a silent vow that he should be ready, for he would be arriving soon to settle the score. He knew that the moment he stepped foot back into the Holy Land, it would spell the absolute end for all of them. Leaping through the canopy, he felt the internal change. His physical vessel had been thoroughly repaired and strengthened, climbing from absolutely nothing all the way up to the 5th layer. Yet, even with such rapid progress, he sighed, it seemed it would still take him a significant amount of time before he was prepared to finally return to the Holy Land. Zhou Yifan moved silently through the dense canopy, his senses on high alert as he surveyed the terrain below. His eyes narrowed as he focused on a disturbance in the woods. There was clearly something there, hiding beneath the trees. He peered down from his vantage point to see a group of figures gathered on the path, a confrontation unfolding in the shadows. A man stood his ground with blade drawn, shouting accusations at the Sun family, branding them traitors for having tricked them. Standing beside him was a woman, and the scene identified the man as Pang Tongling, the head guardian of the Luo family. One of the opposing figures retorted, mocking Pang Tongling by reminding him that despite their long years of working together, he had advised him against prying into current affairs. The tension rose as the figure addressed Sun Guanjia, pointedly noting that the Hui Longjiang was the spiritual martial art of the Luo family, passed down through every generation. The woman stood firm, her voice sharp with defiance, declaring that they would never hand it over, even if it meant they had to die. A young companion beside her, fueled by anger, cried out to his sister not to hold him back, ready to strike down the traitors himself. Watching from above, Zhou Yifan realized the situation. It was no wonder the Luo family was in such trouble. They were being targeted by a band of ruthless bandits. Zhou Yifan pondered the unexpected connection, wondering what this family's business had to do with him, before concluding that he would be better off staying out of it and moving on. Without warning, the protagonist lunges from the trees, his dark silhouette cutting through the air as he descends to intervene. A violent clash rings out as his strike connects, the impact rippling with raw, overwhelming force. The enemy stares back, utterly stunned and unable to comprehend the sudden turn of events, left only to stammer in shock, wondering what exactly had just happened. The protagonist doesn't hesitate, his grip tightening around his weapon as he delivers a brutal, decisive blow that leaves his opponent reeling. This is only a glimpse of what's to come, so read ahead for the full story. The protagonist's gaze remains cold and focused, his eyes locked onto his target as he prepares to finish the fight once and for all.